Peace and love. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising, Grand Awakening, all that good stuff. Missed you guys. I know y'all miss me. I've been getting plenty emails. Where you at? It's been 4 months. Well, I definitely appreciate you guys reaching out and letting me know that my experiences help you guys out, and actually, what I'm doing is helping you. So that's what keeps me going. So, I've been busy. I've been out here slaying, doing my best to get some real results. Because I'm out here navigating and defending my estate. So I'm only doing things that work. I like to investigate and research. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to study to show yourself approved. And that has like a double meaning. You study to show yourself approved, to show that you are competent to do the work, but you show yourself approved by also meaning that you show to yourself that the things that you're doing is approved by you. People can come with their processes, but it may not resonate with your spirit. It may not be what works for you, and that's all right, because there's a million different ways to skin this cat, for lack of better words. There's plenty of different ways to discharge debt. There's plenty of different ways to give notice. There's plenty of different ways to declare your nationality. So all of this running around trying to find the way, there's not the way. There's a way. That's their way, her way, his way, their way, and you can hear what everybody is doing, and then you find what works for you because of what you've heard and what you've studied, what you've seen on paper, in black and white, in a book, on the travel.gov website, on these government websites and things like that. You were built for this. This is in our DNA. Our creator created us to be the head and not the tail. Our creator created us to be the lender and not the borrower. Why? Because the breath of life is in us. The energy is in us. The ability to do labor is in us, I think it's actually in Deuteronomy 28, 13, where it says you were made to be the head and not the tail, that we would lend to many nations but borrow from none, and also that we are meant to be above only. So these are our God-given rights. These are our birth rights. This is the rights given to us by the creator of all things, that we are to be the authority and to rule and reign in this realm on earth, that we are to inherit the earth, not a company. A company doesn't get to inherit the earth. The company doesn't get to own all the green grass and all the trees that bear fruit. They're not here to own, the companies aren't here to own all the animals and subject them to all this horrible treatment to produce food for us. It's not for them. We are supposed to do that. We're the shepherds, So kind of keep that stuff in mind. If you don't take anything from my videos that are meant to be for entertainment purposes only, not for any legal advice or even telling you what to do. I'm basically sharing my experiences to entertain you guys, and see what my experiences can do for you. So that's the main goal. But if you don't take anything from the video, please understand that it is your responsibility to know your position and understand what your duties are. To understand your duty, to understand your position and know what your duties are. Either way, you need to know. And if you're going to be lending out your energy or lending out your labor to a borrower, so to borrow something implies that it's going to come back. So we need to start getting into I want to say ritual, but into a routine of filling out the proper documents to make sure that whatever we give out comes back. It is our duty to assess the tax. It's our duty to put people on notice about what's going on, to declare, to decree, to proclaim. It's your duty to do these things, to give notice. So let's just get into just some things. I wrote down some topics just on this envelope because I really do this when the spirit is on me to do it. I don't script these things. Again, I like to do these when I have stuff going on. In my opinion, people are like, "Oh, share that," and I'm like, "Yeah," So I just do it when it resonates with me to go ahead and do it. So the other day, I jotted down some things that I've been being asked and felt like sharing with you guys. Now, I'm not a guru. I don't do a lot of how-to videos. I'll explain how I did something, but I save all that stuff for the people out there that has put in the time and the work to get it all to where they're showing people exactly what to do. I do recommend Keating. If you haven't heard of him, please go look him up and listen to the things he's saying. And if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you will get on the right path by listening to what he's talking about. I drop a lot of breadcrumbs and nuggets that are meant for those who do have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. They will go and use those things. I like to let them have that lane and I'll stay in my own. So Gene Keating is great. Hellraiser is great. PJ, I listen to him. He's awesome. Those are my main people right now. There was a lady, I think her name was Anna. There's two Annas. There's like an Ann Von Wright and another one like Anna Maria or something like that. I'm not sure. I just be, I see the things that they say. It matches up with things that I'm doing. And then they like fill in the blanks or the things that the books don't really, the books instruct, they don't necessarily show like applicability, if you will. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but it is today. And that's where watching people, living individuals, share, that's how you can try to make sense of everything. So hopefully I can do that for you guys. First thing I want to start with is the A for V. Cannot live without the A for V. So if you guys have been watching my channel, the A for V is the first thing that I did getting into this journey. And I got great successful results my first time around, which made me put on the video and start my channel, because I was like, hold on, what did I just find? And I tried it again, but by the time I tried it again, I didn't know how to check the results. So when I did it again, I was not seeing the results that I wanted. So I thought like it didn't work. And I must tell you guys another revelational thing is we walk by faith, not by sight. So just because you cannot see the fruit doesn't mean it's not there. Just because you can't see the results doesn't mean it's not there. Because we live in a public and private situation. We live in the matrix and outside the matrix. So the stuff that's done outside the matrix, you can't really see it in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? So that's one bit of advice that I want to give you, to be strong and confident in the things that we're doing, because the remedy is always out there. The remedy is there. And you may not see it when you first do something, but you have to have the faith that what you did and the people that you put on notice are performing. And if they're not performing, then your fee schedule and, forms like the 3949 and the 211 and the 4490, those forms are there for you to alert the IRS when companies are not settling these debts, when you provide them with negotiable instruments and instructions on what they need to do with your documents and with your negotiable instruments. We hold them accountable because they're the public servants. They are put in office to perform these duties because that's the position that they took. They took the oath of that particular office. I didn't make you do that. You did. So because you, Steve Mnuchin, has taken the oath of office of the Secretary of the Treasury, things that I need to get done through the Treasury, I'm going to send those to you. Attention to you, Steve Mnuchin doing business as Secretary of the Treasury, with a list of instructions and my documents. Make sure stuff is notarized, make sure you get copies. If I could do this all over again, I'm telling you, make copies of everything. I got a printer from Walmart for like $35. So no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse. There's no excuse. You can get you a couple of bottles of, I don't drink, so I can't think of a bottle and they prices. But, these liquor bottles be $15, $20, $27. Okay, let's not drink. Let's go get us a printer. Okay, because you're going to need that. These are your tools. These are things you're going to need. So get you a printer. And when I started the journey, I didn't have one. I was going to the library. Them copies be 10 cents and 25 cents for a color copy. And now I'm being cheap, trying not to spend nickel, quarters, and dimes, and then I wouldn't have a copy. That's funny to not be trying to spend quarters and dimes, but not having record of what I did, and that was like a year ago. So then when it's time for me to go through my documents, which I recommend we all do, is take some time to just go through your documents. Just go back through your documents. What did I say? Because you were not as intelligent or as knowledgeable today on 3, 4, 5 months ago or a year ago as you are today, hopefully, because you've studied more, you've had more conversation, you've seen the fruits of things, you've seen things not work. So you can go back, and I know I was going through some of my documents and I was like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking when I did that? And so, it's you have to find humor in what we're doing. Not because it's funny, but it doesn't have to be so serious. Have fun with it because, you run it. You're the boss. We are, all caps name is an estate. It's a trust. It's almost as if you were born with the business. That's a good way to see it. It's almost like you were born with the business and your business name just happens to be your name, and you got to separate yourself from the business. I have a business myself, and so it's easy for me to see how if you haven't ran a business, it's hard for you to separate. But I know my hair company, when I receive a check, the person isn't writing a check to me personally, they're writing a check to my company. But when I go to the bank understands that the company isn't cashing the check. It's me, because I'm a living individual. You need me in order as the pass through for these two dead entities to have a conversation. They need me, a live individual, thinking individual, life breathed into me by the creator, in order to use my intellect to do these things, So if you think about your all caps name as a separate entity, as an estate, which is what it is. But for this example, we're going to say a business, because if you don't understand what a trust is, then the example is not going to make sense. But everybody knows what a business is, So like the owner of McDonald's is not McDonald's, right? But the owner of McDonald's signs checks as as the authorized representative of McDonald's, has an account with the name McDonald's, but I am the one that's putting the funds in there and taking the funds out. If I go buy a house, a car, or anything like that, or my printer or different things, I'm buying them under the name McDonald's, and I'm buying it under the name McDonald's using the McDonald's EIN number, as so that the IRS can track what this entity is doing. And because we live in commerce, where this is commerce that we're swimming in. This is the water. We're in the sea of commerce. And we supposed to walk on water. Do you hear me? We supposed to walk on it. So don't drown. We're not out here to drown. We out here to walk on it. You feel what I'm saying? He told us, and he was peaceful. He was asleep while he was doing it. So this ain't supposed to be, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be peaceful, cool, have fun with it. But the IRS, they have, because we're in commerce, everything is a positive, negative, and things need to be zeroed out. So if because we're using that EIN number to track stuff, or SSN number, because that's the number that we use under our all caps name, the IRS needs to account for any time we give our energy to a corporation, because the corporation is the borrower of our energy. When they get our energy, they capitalize on it. They do things with it, that we don't know. That's their side of the business. But all we know is we have to account for what we give them, just like anything else. Just like when you get a receipt from a business. Why? Because the business is accounting for the fact that you gave them something. Now you have a receipt. And don't y'all remember when we was told to keep our receipts? Why? Because there is a return that's supposed to come back because of what we did. Because of that energy given out, we're supposed to receive. But see, we've been taught that we're getting something from them. In our minds, we think the bank is loaning us money, or Walmart is giving us a product. No, I mean, yeah, they are, but they're giving us groceries because of the energy that we gave them. This is what they're giving us. So we start the transaction. We're the lender of it, So we have to get it in our mind. You have to be able to see that clearly so you can get in proper position and do what you got to do. It's an identity. It's a stolen identity is what it is. It's a stolen identity, stolen inheritance, stolen birthrights. You know what I'm saying? And we are out here giving up our birthrights for a bowl of porridge. That is biblical. This is all in the good book. The good book is not a religious text. The good book has been manipulated into thinking that it's religious so people will stay away from it. But if you really want to uncover all the mysteries, you better get in that book, because that's where they all are. I moved like this because the word says who I am. And then because of what the word says, I can go out here and they must obey. They have to obey. Y'all, I'm so serious when y'all get on this walk and y'all take it seriously and stop tiptoeing and having all this fear, because your creator did not give you a spirit of fear, but a sound mind. Use your mind and stop moving out of fear. Fear will disguise itself as a lot of different stuff. And if you boil it down, it's fear. Fear will be like, oh, well, people go to jail for that. Yeah, they do. People go to jail for doing fraudulent things. This is not fraudulent. People go to jail for doing extra. They be trying to do, they think they found something great, and then they try to manipulate it. And it's not to be manipulated. Just do your job. There's enough credit out here. We have unlimited credit, so you don't have to live like a thief. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. I think I started on the A for V, but let me what was I about to say? I was going to talk about equity. We move in equity. The word equity is in the word. Oh, and then Matthew 5, verse 25 says, agree with thine adversary quickly while there are in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verse 26, verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. So basically what that is explaining what happens in commerce. You need to agree. You need to accept with the adversary, which is the dead entities, quickly while you have an opportunity to. Because if you don't, they're going to deliver you to the judge. They're going to get a judgment out on you. How many of y'all got foreclosures and all that stuff? Yeah, why? Because you didn't agree. You didn't accept for value quickly enough while you during that time frame. And he delivered you to the judge, and then the judge, don't he call the bailiff and all that stuff? It's telling you to accept, to do your due diligence. And when you don't, there's consequences for you doing that. But if you follow the commandments and you do what you're supposed to do in as it pertains to commerce, you will prevail. So with the A for V, I'm sorry I got off topic, but with the A for V, what was I going to show y'all with that? I added some things to my process with the A for V for those checks and balances that go with the IRS. That's why I mentioned to listen to Gene Keating. It does involve the 1099s. So I use those to help with the bookkeeping, to make sure when I do the A for V and I turn the remittance or the presentment or the bill into a money order and settle the debt, I also send some of the 1099s to in so that the IRS understands that this has been discharged. And so once that's done, then they do their part and everything just works out beautifully. And I was doing that all 2019. And then at the end of 2019, I called to the company for the OID, and they said they sent it over. The reason I called them for it is because when I looked at my online banking, or not online banking, when I looked at my online account with the, who was that? My gas company, there was only 2 months showing on the statement, just August and December. So it's like, okay, so I call and they corroborate that I only had 2 statements. I was like, well, isn't that weird? And then they were like, yeah, but do you want us to send you this or not? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and send it because I need that proof, But basically, what I'm finding out is when you discharge, it cancels it out. It erases the evidence of it. I mean, it erases the evidence of the discharge, which makes sense because I know I've worked at companies, cell phone companies and different places, and me working there, if I would have seen like United States Treasury, I'd be like, what you doing? How you get them to pay your bill? What are you? It would put private stuff into the public. So it makes sense that it wouldn't do that, but that's what I'm saying as far as we walk by faith, not by sight. So to learn more about the 1099s, like I said, go to the IRS website. You can order publication 1212. Read it, and things that you don't know what they mean. Usually they'll have like a glossary of what the word, or index to show what the words mean. Or you can utilize the Black Law Dictionary. I'm all pointing to it. The Black Law Dictionary to get a better understanding of what the words mean. So while you're reading it, you can translate it for your mind, because it's new to us. So there's that nugget there. So So next thing, the PO box and the tax per queue. So the PO box thing, I definitely, again, this is not legal advice, entertainment purposes only. The PO box is a great way to have a mailing address. When you're filling out applications, most of the time they ask for address. They're really needing your mailing address. The president of the United States would never put, if he was asked what's his address, he would never put the address where he lays his head at. That's too close. That's private information. That's private information. You know what I'm saying? It's like giving somebody the code to the safe. Like, no. You know, rather a PO box. And then I would also ask my family members, friends, to get a PO box so that if I ever have to use them ever as a reference, I can reference them to the PO box. They don't have to go to a person's home. You know what I'm saying? This is protection. We have to protect ourselves. It is our right to protect ourselves. We have a right to consumer privacy. Y'all look up the Consumer Privacy Act. There's a lot of great things to learn in the Consumer Privacy Act, as well as the Freedom of Information Act. Those two I use a lot in what I do, especially when asking for files, asking for certain information, asking for records. The Freedom of Information Act, boom, I have to get access. I am given the right to do that. A lot of the stuff that we do, a lot of our God-given rights, the rights bestowed upon us through our Creator, the rules and regulations that are inherent to us being the heirs and the beneficiaries of the Creator of all things. These things are sprinkled. They spread it all out. They took it out of the Word as best they could. They took as best they could out of the Word and sprinkled it in acts. You know, like I said, the Freedom of Information Act, the Declaration of Human Rights, the rights of indigenous people, the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, the Baby Act, like all these things, they are in all these other places. So we just have to go look for them. The UCC laws. Come on now, y'all. You have to want to find this information for yourself. We have to get off of, what was that? I know whenever I was in going into college, maybe a little bit in high school, you know how we would have like books that we had to read, and they came out with this site that we could go to, and like it would give us the summary of the book, and we would try to like answer the questions through the summary. It might come to my mind later, but we can't live like that. We can't live by saying, okay, read this book, and instead of reading the book, you go read somebody's opinion of the book and their summary of the book and what they wanted to point out in the book, what was interesting to them. That's silly. That's silly to do, because first of all, they're not you, and what might be interesting to them or pertinent to them or help them in their situation may not do nothing for you, or it might not be how you wanted to use it or how you could use it, or you could use it even more for more intricate, detailed situations had you read it yourself to find out that you could use it for this, and this. But the person that you heard it from only mentioned this. Why? Because that's what they used it for. That's where their information stopped. That's all they needed, and they moved on to the next thing. So don't be afraid to read. Find the time, make the time. I plan to do some readings on my channel so that for myself, because there's things that I want to read, but I'm out traveling, I'll be behind the wheel, or I'm cooking, cleaning. I got 2 children, I got a whole family, you know. I can't sit with my face in a book and read. However, I can put something in my ear and be doing what I'm doing and soaking it all in. We have to program ourselves, and not just ourselves, but our children. What? Let me tell you about my 5-year-old. My 5-year-old to be like, Mama, I know you was talking about the UCC. Yeah, son. One day he was like, Mama, what's credit? He's 5. Oh, we broke it down. What else did he say? The UCC. Oh, and then the other day he was talking about some Mama, I heard you say the SSN. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about these things, son. And I broke it down. I told him, you are my heir. You are my beneficiary. So the things that you see mama doing, these are for our estate. This is for our kingdom. He's like the kingdom of light. Well, something like the kingdom of light. I told him, I said, you know how we have a house, and in our house, you have your room, I have my room, and we have the office, we have the kitchen, we have the living room. So it's one place, but in the place, there's these different areas. I said our estate is like our area in the whole kingdom. You know, you got to break it down for these children. They need to know what's going on. They need to realize who they are, you know, and what is really going on. There's no need to be like, oh, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny. No, bro. No, bro. None of that. None of that. We're talking executrix, executor, grantor, settler, debtor, lender, borrower. Those are who they need to know about. Not no Santa Claus, fam. For real. For real. Like, for real. Like, so, but we do have to come into a place where we want to know this stuff. There will come a day where we are doing this correctly, and when we're out here dating, when our children, our offspring are out here, we're never kids. Kids are goats. We're not goats. We're not animals. We are children, and then we're preteens and we're adults, like that. But we will get to a place where when we're out here dating and getting to know people, our whole conversation is finna change. It ain't gonna be about none of this mess. I don't even know what people talk about now when they meet. Like, I don't even know. But what we need to be talking about is, have you administered your estate? Have you done your UCC? What, you got your collateral done? What you got on your collateral? Oh, for real? Have you put this person on notice? Oh, okay. Do you got this address? Do you know the name of the new secretary of Puerto Rico? Come on now. We are out here defending our estate. We're out here defending the estate that was created by them when they registered our birth certificate. They set all this up, but we're this is the Minnesota Rule 220. We're the only ones that can claim that. We are the rightful owners. We are the rightful heirs. We're the rightful beneficiaries. Get in position so you can handle your job. And then you want to be aware of the Form 56s to put the people that are in office who's took the oath to do business in this office. You do a Form 56 to put them in place to say, I'm giving you the authority to handle this job for my estate. These are our employees. These are our public servants. This is what they do. This is what they get paid to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't paying them. This is what they get paid to do, So it's not a scary thing. It's not, just get used to the fact that we're in authority, that we're the head and not the tail. They're the tail. They are, not us. They get told. We don't. We put them on notice. We tell them. And I heard, somebody had asked a question about something about nationality, like how do they let people know that they're of their nationality or something like that. And I was like, you tell them, you just put them on notice. There's not like a place that we go. There's not like a list that we go, like, let me go put my name on the nationality list. Like, it's not like that. To be honest with you, we're one nation under God. We're one nation under the Creator. We're all who we are, and it doesn't matter your race, your creed, your sex. It doesn't matter any of that. We are all under one nation. But if you want to split hairs and do your nationality, you just have to give notice. And I believe that you give notice when you're doing something, like, depending on what it is that you're doing, you may send a copy of your nationality document or your Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act or something like that with your the act of I always say this word wrong. Expiration. It'll come to me. Let me find what I wanted to show you real quick. Expiration. Ugh. You gotta be fluid with this stuff. I said, I'm not perfect, but I pray. Yeah, no. Where is this document? Oh, here we go. It's all the way at the end. And what am I doing? I gotta be remembering because I got so much information. I gotta just remember I'm sharing it in a fashion that could be understood, and I'm not just jumping all over the place. But I was talking about how we have to be accountable for the information, and we do have to be passing down this information. And I was just gonna show just a couple of things that you want to have. Expiration. Is that right? Expiration. Active expiration. It's gonna bug me. I don't hear people say the word a lot. So this is my cancellation of all power of attorneys. I've got these done so many times, but you want to send those with things whenever you are putting them on notice about something, and you let them know that you've canceled anybody else's power of attorney, so they don't have the power of attorney to move on your behalf behind the scenes. So when we sign those contracts, when we get a loan or we get a house or any contract that we sign, a lot of times, even when you purchase a car, even when you buy it outright, like I did, they still slid in a limited power of attorney. So I slid right on back to them the cancellation of power of attorney. They don't get that. I'll handle whatever needs to be done. Send it to me. I haven't given anyone authorization to handle matters concerning my estate. You thought it was. Right here, the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. This vessel is publishing mandatory notice that they are foreign sovereigns from the state of Michigan of the United States of America. This is your mandatory notice that these above named vessels, which are all my names, all the derivatives of my names, presumptions, punctuations, and ordering of the names, all material rights, duties, exemptions, insurances, treaties, bonds, agreements, and guarantees, including indemnity and full faith and credit. You are also hereby provided mandatory notice that these vessels are not subject to territory or municipal United States law, that I'm owned under the law of peace. That's God's law. That's the law of the Creator. That's scripture law. Department of the Army, subject to Department of the Army pamphlet. If you look this up, the Department of the Army pamphlet 27-161-1, from all territorial and municipal officers and employees who otherwise have no permission to approach or address them. So it's saying that I'm under the law of peace. So I would send this with documents to maybe the police, or they're not even really the police. They're either policy enforcers or what does somebody call them? I really like that name. Solicitors. They are solicitors because they are the switch that everyone's like, what are they allowed? Are we allowed? Is there was a time that when they took the oath to protect us, to protect and serve, that was the Republic. They took an oath to protect and serve the Republic of America. But because most of us have switched over to U.S. citizens, that's the territory municipal positions that were being referred to, and that is those are employees of the United States corporation. So we lose our birthrights for the bowl of porridge. It makes it seem like being a U.S. citizen, is what you want to do. That's not what you want to be. You want to be an American national, or you want to be an American state national. Never seen these individuals before. I'm being nosy, y'all. Oh, somebody must have missed the school bus. You want to be an American national unless you have your own nationality. I was born in one of the 50 states of the Union, so I'm an American national.